Rebellions are built on hope.
And welcome to another episode of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Alberto Calderon, and thank you for joining us on this Star Wars Saturday. And we're joined again by our co-host, Oti. He's back this week. Oti, how are you doing today? That's it. I want to say new background, or you move some things around.
I moved the camera from here to here. New angle, I guess.
All right, that's
more
or less what I've done.
So ever since, let's full disclosure, we don't have a lot to talk about. Ever since I moved here, I had like this huge mess. I still had boxes there that I had nowhere to put. So like I've told you, like in the last couple of weeks, I've been doing deep cleaning, and that was one of the things I was handling. But like when I set up the camera here and I looked at it, I was like, oh, it looks so messy. But then I turned it around. It looks messier in the camera than it does. So I turned it around. I was like, what am I gonna pick up? It's so like. So whatever. I don't care. Neither should you.
We don't. I just saw your guitars and I said, oh, there's stuff there.
Yeah, you can see more of my guitars now. And that closet is a very special closet. That's just soccer shirts. Like that's yeah. Back in my other apartment.
Just put something over it. We don't need to see your soccer shirts.
No, but I like them then. So whatever. There you go. You can see that. Actually, that whole thing has a tarp. I just hate it the way it looks. Threw it away.
Yeah, my camera was from this side before. Yeah, I just moved it here. It's the same place, and I gotta change things also. I don't know.
Yeah, so I have like a V, an L desk, and like when I sat this way, this thing over here bothered me. So yeah, I'd rather have it here.
Anyway, that's our setup, and it will change at some point next year, most likely. But yeah,
how am I? We were talking. I'm dealing with the aftermath of last Tuesday. Not last Tuesday. The Tuesday before that one. I've gone through like a very weird grief path. Like I did acceptance fairly quick, but then I went to anger. I did bargaining. I did this whole thing. Maybe it's not gonna be that bad. Like maybe it's gonna be okay. So yeah.
I'm sure that one didn't last too long.
No.
Face real quick.
I also went through anger. I was like, whatever, let the economy crash. Like, another Great Depression. Screw it. Like, let's do it. We don't need to go too much into. Well, first it was shock, but not really, because I live here. I live in Florida. This is a red state, so I can see from this end how people were kind of leaning, but I could kind of expected it. I agree with that, but since you know it's a red state, you're also like, okay, it's a red bubble. Like,
it was more that shock, because we've been just waiting. Oh, you're gonna have to wait 3 or 4 days to find the results. And then I woke up I went to sleep around 11 or something, and we're still a lot of states haven't even closed polls. I'm like, whatever, this always happens. Woke up to go to the bathroom around 2:30 in the morning. And I'm like, should I turn the TV on? If something happened, I won't be able to sleep. I gotta check. Let me check. And he was already speaking like, he's gonna win. I'm like, crap, why did I do this? Now I won't be able to sleep for the next 2 hours. So it was that shock that, it's already called. And then I went through that process, kind of, okay, now deal with it. Like, he won. Now let's see what happens. And half the people that voted not really knowing what he stands for, kind of, now everyone's gonna suffer from my point of view. But anyway, that's separate from.
No, I'm not done. I'm still on my.
Oh, I'm sure.
I had a very similar thing to you. I woke up at 3. At 10, I was so tired. I had a very long election day that I'm not gonna tell the story about because it's very long. I had a very long day.
Because you have the election in Puerto Rico at the same time. You're dealing with two.
Yeah, but Puerto Rico, it's not really that hard. You can identify a trend like very quickly. It's not that many votes, so it's just a couple million. So yeah, but in Puerto Rico, it's weird. I was disappointed with the result, but like still, like you know this, Alberto. Like the Independent Party getting 33% of the vote is crazy. Mm-hmm. So whatever. But like I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was like, okay, I have to check my phone. And when I checked it, I saw that they were waiting for him to talk or something like that, or maybe he had just talked, and I was like, he's doing it again. He's declaring victory. We don't know the results, and then I did literally like just scrolled a little bit 1 minute ago. Oh, we can project he took Pennsylvania, and I was like because Pennsylvania was like the state I was looking at.
Yeah,
and I saw people on Twitter being, no, but she could still. Idaho is still in play. It's like,
no.
Like, and for me, in 2016, it was like a little bit of denial and what the hell happened. Here was just disappointment. Like, it was like, wow, you guys really went with this. So, but here she took 80% of the symbolic vote in Puerto Rico.
There you go. At least when you're the 51st state and get deported. All right. So if you're joining us for the first time, thanks for being here. We will talk Star Wars eventually.
It's 5 minutes. Calm down. Star Wars is politics.
Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any great conversation, a great episode that we have. Make sure you like this video and comment down below any Star Wars news or topic you want us to discuss. Give me a second. Let me finish my spiel. Then you can go. And if you're listening to the other podcast, thank you. Rating, reviews, 5 stars, all that fun stuff. Yes, Oti, go ahead again.
And we need to talk about this while we still can, because on January 20, Attorney General Mike Gates is going to take care of all of us. So
it's not even funny. In one sense, it is in the cabinet picks. Like, it's like, really, is this what we're going with again? And then on the other end is that freaking, and then of course it's also being checked for sexual abuse or harassment. It's like, are people really gonna approve all these nominees? No way. And then you think they're going to.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Worm guy is gonna be in charge of our health. I was like,
I sent it to my fiance. I was like, oh, your new boss. She's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're gonna do the recess thing. They're not gonna want to take the vote. They're such cowards. So
we'll see. January will be 2025. We'll see.
These 4 years are gonna last 8 years.
So first, thanks to a part of all this I guess this is just the pre-link, or I don't know, just a segue to thank you all the new followers we have on Bluesky. I have moved from Twitter to Bluesky. I think this is going to stick. At least a lot of people have moved. It's
Fingers
not one
crossed,
of those
man.
that we've been saying for years. Oh, people are going to leave Twitter. Is it going to be Hive, Mastodon? Then we got that Threads or Bluesky, and nothing happened. But now, I'll just say we went from about 130 to 150 followers that we had. We just crossed 400 followers this morning. It's like people are moving in, and I'm going to Bluesky first more than I used to. I used to open Twitter first. Now I'm opening Bluesky, and there's a difference. Most of the people we follow are posting on Bluesky. Twitter, even though we still have a bunch more followers, not a lot of people are tweeting out. So thank you for joining us, and come on.
No, I was very, I was very hesitant with Bluesky because the whole invite thing was weird, and I would hear people like more from the political sphere. They would say like it's great the way it works, the algorithm, but there's no one there, and I was like, then why am I going to join? But I did it before the mass migration, like a couple of days before. I just out of curiosity, I was like, okay, let's check it out, and I think a lot of people did the same thing.
Yeah,
and it's really uncanny. Sometimes I forget I'm in. Sometimes I'm in X, and I'm like, wait, oh, I thought this was Bluesky, and then I'll switch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it. If you haven't checked it out, I thought Threads had potential, but the algorithm sucks. It shows you horrible things, and it also shows you things from like 3 days ago. So it's like, I don't care anymore. So if you haven't jumped, do it. It works just like Twitter.
Yeah. And it was, I think, the invite kind of pull a lot of people off. Like, really, I needed waiting for an invite and then create your profile. It's not worth it, because even I jumped into Bluesky pretty early on, but for the past year and a half, in 3 or 4 minutes, I was seeing the whole feed already. It's like, nobody's posting, nobody's here. They're just retweet or reposting the same thing they put on Twitter. So let me just go to Twitter. and I would check it like once every 2 or 3 weeks. But now, finally people have migrated, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, no, and if you like news and things, like they're all moving. So
yeah, all that, creating all those different starter packs, so you know who to follow depending what your likes are, kind of helps everything grow, and then you can just follow those things, not be bombarded with stuff you don't want to hear or whatever.
Hey, if this doesn't work, and we tried Threads, we tried Hive. Hive was promising, but I think it was too lacking. Mastodon, we tried it. There's one left. We can try.
We're going to through social.
Yep.
Dude, we'll check. Well, you know what?
Outright following and whatever.
Who's out there in the chat, Alti?
We have Dale in the chat as always. Hello there, Dale. We have Brennan. Hello there. I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited for the future of Star Wars. I am too, Brennan. Yeah. I am too. And we also have Scary Scuttlebutt Podcast. Amigos,
hello there. I was looking for something to make fun of. I can't find it. Anyway, doesn't matter. So yeah, we're gonna just keep talking before we go into. So you saw the Ren helmet and lightsaber that's gonna come out tomorrow.
Cool.
It's freaking.
I'm not gonna buy it, but it's so cool.
I thought it was a set, both of them together, but they're separate. Lightsaber is $300, so that I'll watch pictures and whoever buys it. That helmet is calling me, so I might be logging on tomorrow.
How much is the helmet?
It's $80, so it's less expensive than a lot of.
Super worth it.
Yeah.
I had the weirdest thing happen to me. I went to Disney Springs a couple of weeks ago. I was in Orlando, and the day I was leaving, we went. And I went to one of the Disney stores, and they had. I'm not as into helmets as you, but I love the Kylo Ren helmet.
Yeah.
And they had the Kylo Ren helmet. They recently released with the Rise of Skywalker scars, and I was like looking at it. I was like, I want it. And my fiance was like, "Why don't you get it?" I'm like,
really?
No, like it's $100. I don't have anywhere to put it in my bags. And she's like, "Oh, you can leave it in my apartment." I was like, "You're making this too easy for me," but no.
Yeah, supposed to be the voice of reason.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, "You're the one who always says no. ¿Para qué tú quieres eso?"
This my wife asked me a couple of weeks ago, "Hey, if there's any big ticket item you want for Christmas?" I'm like, I'm good. I don't think I want anything this year. Boom, this popped out. I just told her, actually, I think I just found something.
The Ren helmet.
Yeah. All right.
It's super cool.
I'm so happy that they're starting to do this for comic books. The Stellan Geo's lightsaber that came out last year. It's like, yes, we need to see all this.
I agree.
All right, so if you guys are ready,
action figure.
I'm ready. Or helmet. Let's talk Star Wars and Star Wars news. All right, so for our first bit of Star Wars news, this came out as a surprise a little bit. Last week, we got the official announcement that Andor was coming out that Tuesday after Star Wars Celebration ends, that we kind of thought you mentioned maybe they will show the first couple of episodes for people there in Celebration. I think that's going to be a given now, seeing where it comes out. We got our first look, first footage of Season 2 of the acclaimed Star Wars series Andor was revealed in a Disney montage of all places, Disney Plus, I should say, featuring Diego Luna going toe-to-toe with Luthen Rail, and the return, there you saw it, our favorite droid, K2SO. This was a total surprise when this came out. We're just waiting for Skeleton Crew that comes out in about 2 weeks. And then we got that about 15 seconds of Andor. As soon as Diego Luna said, "Oh, I'm fighting like a soldier," I'm like, we're back, baby. Here we are.
Back.
and I'm not one to say that because Star Wars, we're in it. I don't know. Just seeing those visuals, seeing the audio, seeing someone at the first thing, can anyone help us? Because I think Ferrix is gonna feel the might of the Empire coming down after what happened, and then finishing with K2 kind of walking towards the camera. I'm excited. I can't wait for April.
It's funny how excited Star Wars fans get for like 5 seconds of because it's like a teaser within a teaser, because it's a teaser of everything Disney Plus. And we just go, of course, we cling to this. No, but it's so excited to actually just like see it realized and,
Yeah.
okay, it exists. Someone knows what's gonna happen, and just remembering how beautiful this show looks. Like that shot of the TIE, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I always call them just TIE fighters, but like
Mhm.
that shot is super cool. Of course, seeing K2SO. So yeah, I was ready for your. Are they promoting it too early?
I put a post out earlier this week, like, yeah, give me Andor, but let's pump up the brakes a little bit. For
You
Skeleton
just
Crew is about to come out, but
no.
I used to be here years ago saying Star Wars doesn't market their show. What are they doing? And now it's okay. Maybe I'll shut up and
I
not use
really
much.
think that for TV shows, a 3 month marketing period is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but it was pretty exciting, and I've been getting very excited for Skeleton Crew. So just to have this come through the side and be like, no, I'll be excited for all of Star Wars. So yeah.
And I love it. Feels like Andor. There's always that little bit of doubt. Is it gonna have the same feel? Are they gonna change this or that? It just feels like Andor. Feels like the stakes are there for everything that happened season 1 going to Rogue One. It feels like those stakes are still there.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because season 1 was just so unprecedented. I think we were so unprepared for what it was going to be. And it kind of felt like lightning in a bottle. It's so funny because Andor is probably one of my least favorite Star Wars shows, but I still think it's a phenomenal show. And I always find myself like being very annoyed at people like, oh, this is what Star Wars should be. I'm like, no, not really. But I still can't admit it was amazing. And there's always that seed of doubt, like, is it gonna live up to it again? And again, we didn't really get much, but it feels like Andor, what we saw.
I mean, same. It's if I have to rank my Star Wars show, it won't be in my top 2, maybe 3 or 4. But I can easily say it's the best Star Wars show. It's not my favorite, but it's the best, and it still feels like it. And I'll keep saying it every time we talk about Andor. Every week, can it keep going? Can it get better, and better? Every week, it kept hitting those milestones. So I think we're hoping that season 2 will be the same. And then not only did we get that little teaser of a teaser, Empire then all week started giving little excerpts, or their interviews are coming out. All those pictures that I show are from the Empire interview or article. We have Diego Luna saying that Cassian Andor is now a man fully committed to the rebellion, and we can see how that plays out a little bit in those couple of scenes. We kind of knew what's going to happen, that how K2 and Cassian's relationship comes to it. Diego Luna saying that you'll find out also why Cassian's best friend is a droid with K2. We have these galaxy-spanning adventures with new locations, places that we've been already at that we know so far. We know Yavin is going to have a big part on it. Tony Gilroy said that we're going to show you. So we'll tell the story of Yavin. No one has quite dealt with Yavin the way we'll be doing it. Yavin is one of the most recognizable Star Wars locations. It's very important for a lot of fans. And then if you go to the EU, there's the Sith Temple or Dark Forces were there. Is that gonna come into play? You would think not in Andor, but you never know. I don't think. There's Exar Kun was here, and we're not gonna get that. It'll be cool.
Tony Gilroy was probably, if you ever say that name again, use this gun. I was fascinated by that. I never took Tony Gilroy by a lore head. But it's interesting. I wouldn't bet on. I would bet on people being very upset over Exar Kun being something that's mentioned. If it is, I'm sorry, Tony Gilroy. I am sorry. But we'll see. I was fascinated by that point in the article. Because it's, what does he mean? Like, are we gonna see like the first day there or something?
Just carving all the rocks,
setting up the sewage and the.
In the future, Luke Skywalker will be here. Wedge riding on it. One of the novices, Wedge, and other people ride on the barracks over there. And of course, the first image of director Krennic, Orson Krennic, and people went nuts, and we already knew about it, but we saw him. It's official.
I love how people's like, oh, first view on Krennic, and it's literally Krennic just standing in a room.
They could have pulled that from Rogue One. We have
same
no idea.
cape, same clothing. Maybe he has like less colored things. I don't know.
Probably the same.
I never count those, but yeah, no, it's exciting because I love Ben Mendelsohn, but it's like he's just standing there.
I mean, like you mentioned at the beginning, we are Star Wars fans. Just pick one little thing for those 5-second trailers or just images, and we just overanalyze, and sometimes that's the fun of it. But another thing, it's not only Krennic's going to be there, he's going to have scenes with Deidre Miro that we know it's kind of pushing herself of the ranks of the Empire and the ISB. I want to see how that goes. And Ben Mendelsohn was very like, yeah, it's no competition. Like, I'm over here, everyone else is down here. But Deidre Miro, don't push her, don't count her out.
That's gonna be like wonderful scenes to witness, because it's gonna be two great actors just going at it, and Deidre was just so amazing in that first season.
So great, everything. All right, so I'm gonna throw something out, talking that. What?
Before that, can we go to the chat?
Go.
It's building up. So okay, we have Scaris Scuttlebutt is saying that this is the only thing I'm really looking forward to. Andor season 2 looks fantastic. I agree with it. Looks fantastic. I am excited for everything though. So. He's also saying, and I actually forgot about this, and I hope Tony Gilroy didn't forget this. I hope they resolve the sister storyline and don't let it hanging like that. Yeah, I completely agree. I hope they don't.
Remember all the theories of who his sister was? I think they said Deidre at one point. And Biggs, not Biggs, but everyone was a sister.
I hope it's nothing like that.
Have
ignored. Like the show starts with that.
That's why the police are.
That's why everything starts. Roberto is in the chat. Hello, Roberto. It's been a while, my friend.
Roberto.
But Roberto's also on Bluesky, and you know who's also on Bluesky? Buck is in Bluesky. Buck is saying, like Empire, maybe the best Star Wars movie. It's not everyone's favorite Star Wars movie, and I completely agree. Empire is my favorite Star Wars. Empire is my favorite movie. But
thank you guys.
He's also saying, and I also agree with this. I don't always agree with Buck, so
I know.
My friend. If there are nods to the Sith species or Exar Kun, it would come from the set production and not from the script, like the Sith Stalker helmet from The Force Unleashed being in Luthen's shop. And I actually agree with that. I sometimes think that's cooler.
That works better,
than someone just like walking in and be like, "Oh, this is such a dark place because Exar Kun was here." Like, come on, we're not gonna see Andor fight the spirit of Exar Kun there. So that would be the only way to do it. So I rather have it like be like the set and everything, just doing that visual storytelling.
Cassian just walking around. Oh, I couldn't sleep. Why? You saw the ghost of Exar Kun?
Buck is saying, Oti, we agree more than we disagree. That's something that the Democrat candidate used to say and lost. So don't say that, Buck. Yeah, but I agree. I love you, buddy.
So speaking of things that we kind of guarantee, and I don't want to put words in Tony Gilroy's mouth, but he's probably not thinking about this, but where is Thrawn at this time period? Because Thrawn is in Rebels. Him and Krennic and Tarkin won the Desert Project while Thrawn was his TIE Fighter project. I know he's in one part, he's with Vader when he moves out in Rebel Season 3 or something. He's not there because he's out with Vader doing that book that I hate. Not that I hate it, it's not my favorite. And then he comes back. Yeah. Can he be now that Thrawn is in live action, he's in Ahsoka, we kind of see that Star Wars wants to do not the MCU, but if they can connect a few things. Would it surprise you if Thrawn makes an appearance in season 2?
You know what? It would. I don't know. Because I do think of that you just mentioned, the whole MCU thing, and I don't think it's a terrible idea, honestly. Like it is. It would make, like, if Thrawn shows up, it's like he's around. Mm-hmm. I laughed when you mentioned him, because then I had this thought of him going into Yavin and being like, these walls.
he'll bring Exar Kun into it.
He'll be the exposition machine. Yeah. If they do it that way, then I'm fine. But I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. I don't think we're gonna see him. I think we might see him in the Mando movie. But
okay, it makes sense. I mean, Thrawn written by Tony Gilroy. I'll take that. I'll take a couple of scenes.
Here's a wild idea. Tony Gilroy, do a Chiss Ascendancy movie, TV show. Do it. Adapt the Thrawn Ascendancy books.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be awesome.
That'll be great. Show. Yeah. Just keep it on the
put it on Hulu.
All right, so little snippets from Andor season 2 starting to come out. Again, everything looks great. Skeleton Crew comes out in about 16 or 17 days, or let's say 2 weeks, basically. Mm-hmm. And then after it ends, we got about a month and a half, 2 months without any Star Wars, and then Andor right there. So great couple of months coming up. All right, so before we move to our second, sorry, I just hit something, to our second news story, I want to ask you, let me do something. Let's go to movie news, Star Wars movie news.
Star Wars movie news.
So, Ote, I know you a couple of weeks ago, you said, we haven't used that graphic in a while, and now it's been like every week we bring out Star Wars movie news. But before we go to that news item, because you weren't here last week, what are your thoughts on Simon Kinberg's supposed 3 movies are coming? Is it episode 10, 11, 12? Is it the Rey Skywalker movie? Do they connect? Are you surprised that we keep getting, not official, but more movies are out there?
No, I am not surprised. Lucasfilm is a movie studio, mm-hmm. and there are a lot more projects in development that we know of.
Sure.
Sometimes they leak, sometimes they don't, sometimes they're announced before they should be announced. But I would bet that there are a bunch of things going on. And even, for example, the Godzilla -1 director was just announced to be doing another Godzilla movie, and he was talking about how many offers he got, and he was like, no, I want to make another Godzilla movie before I jump to Hollywood and do something. We know that he met with Lucasfilm. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure they had a conversation like, buddy, what do you want to do? So again, and we never heard that, Lucasfilm is developing this, but there probably were actual conversations going on. So that said, I am not surprised by Simon Kinberg developing a Star Wars story. He's already connected to Lucasfilm. Created Star Wars Rebels, which is
a little show that everyone seems to love. But when I saw the people, really, Kinberg, he made the worst X-Men movies, and Rebels and all the other stuff is done.
No, I've seen a lot of people like, he's just a creator. He was just there that day. Yeah, no, he wrote a little episode called Twilight of the Apprentice, and I think he wrote the finale of the, which is probably two of the best episodes in the entire show. So, he wrote Twilight of the Apprentice, so I think he can be trusted with writing a good Star Wars story. And I don't know how involved he was on the direction of the show, but like, one of the guys who created Rebels doing a Star Wars trilogy. Yeah.
No brainer.
Like, why not? Yeah. So is it the same thing? I'll tell you my theory. Because I saw a lot of people being like, they announced supposedly they removed a movie from the slate, the 2026 movie.
Yeah.
And maybe you were getting to that, but I'll just say, like, people are like, they canceled the Rey movie. Like, we just didn't. They never said that was the Rey movie. Yeah. I actually thought that was a Mando movie. But whatever. No, it's May 2026, right?
May.
Why would you have a movie in December then? Like,
no movie, December 2026. So yesterday, as we're jumping off, Hollywood Reporter revealed that Disney had pulled the December 2026 movie from their slate. And then some people said no Star Wars movie December, and some people, oh, the Rey movie got pulled, and they just lost the writer. Oh, we're not getting the Rey movie. It's like, no, like you said, we don't need two movies in the same year.
Did everyone forget about the time they did Last Jedi and then Solo? I'll be super honest. I don't think the 6-month thing was the issue there. I think there were a lot of issues.
Sure.
There. But yeah, I don't think they'll release 2 movies in a year. Like, this is not the MCU. I don't think Star Wars is going to do that. So what I'm thinking though, and I saw someone like tweet this out. I don't remember who it was, so I'm sorry. They can now release the Rey movie in 2027 in the 50th anniversary of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And what got me thinking, like, what better way to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Star Wars with episode freaking 10?
Yeah. Dude, it makes 100% sense. And I tweeted that out, and I saw someone else do something similar. I said, it makes sense. I'm going to now put my spin on it. And it was that it makes sense not to do another one in December 2026. Apart from Mando, not as far as we know, nothing has gone into production. We're 2 years away. That's cutting it extremely close if they wanted to make that deadline. So it's no surprise that they say, we haven't started, let's just pull the date. And then when you think about, oh, actually 50 years of Star Wars, episode 10, Rey Skywalker with Daisy Ridley that we just brought out 2 years ago, it makes 100% more sense to do that, even if it comes out May 2027, that forced that December 26th date. So I'm not surprised, and business-wise, it makes sense. So I know it's people just jump to conclusions. We should buy that game.
Yeah, and I just want to highlight this. Buck is the biggest cynic I know, and he's like putting a movie out in 2027 for the 50th. It's so cool because it's the coolest idea ever. Like, why would you not? If they don't do that, they don't do that, Kathleen Kennedy should be fired. I'm saying that like right now. Like, it doesn't have to be episode 10, 11, and 12. If Lucasfilm does not release a Star Wars movie in 2027, Kathleen Kennedy should be fired. I just said that into the microphone.
It's the promotion is right there. It's like half the battle is already won. They don't have to do anything. 50 years of Star Wars done.
Yeah, and the 40th we got Last Jedi. So I'm an accountant. I'm not in marketing, but I think you should do it.
You're reminding someone. Okay, fine.
No. What I wanted to say is that we also heard that Stephen Knight was supposedly fired or let go. We don't ever really know what actually happened. So like it would like the reason I'm not concerned about the Stephen Knight thing, by the way, I know this is old news, but Daisy and Charmaine were sold on an idea and a vision for this story. So I think that that's something that's going to stay consistent because if not, they're going to lose them. So I may also think like, this started with Damon Lindelof, then he came Stephen Knight. Maybe Simon Kimber was like, Kathy, I have an idea and I know what you guys are working on. Put me in. And she's like, oh, what do you have? I'm like, oh, it's a trilogy. And she's like, oh, we have the 50th anniversary coming out. I'm fine.
You imagine if it was someone just, okay, we're planning out our movies, our schedule for celebration, and then someone in the back, well, has anyone thought that in 2027 is the 50th years of Star Wars? Come here, well, say that again. Let's write it down. Like,
George Lucas no
one knew about this.
George Lucas was in the background doing Sudoku. I was like, oh, I told you that.
All right, so that kind of
you can still use my script.
Just use my midichlorian going to the... And then Darth Maul comes back with Darth Talon.
Quantum Mania.
So Rey Skywalker, right? She's the future. She's the chosen one. So in an expansive article that some fans took positively, while others focus on that negative way they could impact Star Wars, what a surprise. The Hollywood Reporter released a look into what some sources revealed is the inner workings of Lucasfilm as it looks into the future. And I'm just going to read a little bit and then we'll discuss. One of the quotes is saying, while insiders dispute the notion that there is a battle for Rey, there definitely is internal deliberation within Lucasfilm as to what to do with the heir to Skywalker next. She's the most valuable cinematic asset in some ways, maybe the only one Star Wars has right now, one source close to the franchise tells the Hollywood Reporter. And I think that goes to, we have the Rey movie. Daisy really has said in other interviews, movie or movies. So she kind of alluded to being more than one. Plus, we got the news then about Damon Lindelof doing a trilogy. Different disputes if it's connected to Rey, is it a new 10, 11, 12, or what is it? Kind of makes sense that all these kind of it's tied to each other. I'm a little bit surprised that this source says that Rey is the most valuable asset. Kind of forget about Mandalorian and Grogu, which I think are the more popular right now. Mm-hmm. They did say cinematic, and they haven't done the jump to the movies yet. But what are your feelings about seemingly people inside Lucasfilm accepting that Rey is kind of this future of Star Wars and where they should pull all their chips right now?
I'm gonna tell you something, man.
I mean, that's why I had you here.
I know there's gonna be a lot of cynics and be like, oh, like Rey isn't what Luke was, and maybe she isn't. Like, but I think a lot of people would agree that not using the original cast earlier was a mistake.
Sure.
And that's a big part of the reason why we never saw them all together again. So I do think it makes sense to keep Daisy around, and even though she may not be as big as Luke, it's 2024. Like 9 years ago, the entire planet went to see a movie about her origin story, and maybe not everyone came back for the other two movies. There's a lot of people who just saw Force Awakens because it's Star Wars. It's this big iconic thing. Whatever. I'll just go watch that one and then tune in for the rest. There's a Rise of Skywalker made over $1 billion. So like, yeah, a ton of people saw that movie too. Yeah. So like, if this movie comes out in 2027, it's 12 years after Force Awakens. Yeah. It's more time between Force Awakens and this movie than from Revenge of the Sith to Force Awakens. So just putting that in context, I think a lot of people will go to see it. Like if it's Star Wars Episode 10 and the trailers show the return of Daisy Ridley as Rey, everyone's gonna be like, yeah, we went to see her in Episode 7. That looks cool. Christmas, let's go. So yeah, Rey Skywalker could very well be the future of Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And Daisy Ridley has been doing a lot of stuff away from Star Wars, so she's a recognizable actress out there. It's not like people have forgotten about her. She's got a bunch of movies coming out, and most of them have been getting good reviews.
She's a great actress.
Yeah. And she's in all the interviews when she talks about Star Wars, she mentions about how young she was when she did The Force Awakens. Now she's a different person. So it's like you said, 12 years have passed since The Force Awakens. She's older. She'll look at the character a little bit different. It will be a different character because 12 years has passed since she kind of got roiled into this whole world.
Hashtag not my Rey. Ignite the yellow.
yeah. Hashtag not my Rey. The Rey I knew would have fixed that antenna on that droid, not pushing down the cliff. But I'm so excited. I'm glad that they're kind of focusing, or looks like they are going to focus on her. We still don't know anything official. But if they don't want to make some of the mistakes, like you said, that they did with the original cast, Rey hits. Most people, apart from the toxic fandom menace out there, like the character of Rey. If you go to Disney World and Galaxy's Edge and you see all the little girls dressed as Rey from years ago, now those 10 years have passed. So those people, now they're part of the buying power for these movies. And again, making it Episode 10 makes so much sense. I know for some people, no, that ended with the Skywalkers and with Luke and the Emperor. It's Star Wars, it's the movies, it follows those characters. Make it Star Wars Episode 10. Just seeing that on the big screen will bring people into it. And then part of the report also said Rey said to play a role in several movies that are being developed, although which ones remain kind of unclear. And someone else saying, oh, she's supposed to be kind of the Obi-Wan of this new trilogy, showing up in different movies and being that Jedi Master, I guess, for other Jedis out there. So we'll see.
It's super funny because Daisy Ridley is my age. So it's like,
you're Obi-Wan Kenobi. But yeah, again, it makes sense. It makes sense to have her front and center. She doesn't need to be the star of every movie. If she comes up for a couple of scenes, it's
do it, you cowards. And you know what? After that, set up 13, 14, or 15. Why not? Like, you bought Lucasfilm for a reason. Do it. Go wild with it.
Dude, it's so wild to think things that we're talking up now. This is going to be like 2032, 2034. When this movie comes out, we're still talking about Star Wars. We've been like 60 years since it came out. It's wild to think.
2027 is 3 years from now, right?
Yeah.
So we found out about episode 7 in 2012 and it came out in 2015. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I hate them because they're gonna go into Star Wars Celebration with nothing new, and the big announcement is gonna be, remember that Rey movie? It's actually a trilogy, and boom, everyone's back. Even Harrison Ford is back.
They'll bring it back, dude. I think we're getting a Finn announcement at Celebration. I think that's gonna be.
I think that's the only way they get away without actual new concrete news is if we have a picture of them three together. I think Finn.
You mean Finn in Jedi robe? Just a picture they show on screen
with a lightsaber. Oh my god! And that would be cool because it's like, he'd probably come out with a random lightsaber. But yeah, I know we're just dreamcasting. Maybe we'll be here like they really had nothing new to announce. But I think that's the only. I think if they do John Boyega and Daisy alone, that's fine. But it's those three in the stage, and we get the logo. Do you mean? I'm getting super ahead. We get a title.
No, okay.
That's too much. Okay, whatever.
I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking just if they bring those two and then save. I know it will leak anyway. Save Oscar Isaac for a trailer or for the actual movie that shows up.
If he's involved, have him there because you have nothing else to. So just like throw it all there.
Oscar Isaac is a big draw for a lot of people, so you don't want to.
Yeah, I actually super agree with this. Buck, we're having a day, man.
We're gonna finish this early before
Jedi Finn is the best way to restore faith in the franchise, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that would get a lot of people very riled up and excited.
Sorry I took that off. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. I don't want to say it makes sense. It would bring a lot of people back into Star Wars and make a lot of us very happy,
including John Boyega.
Yeah. And this is the part of the article where some found some internal problems in Lucasfilm. Excuse me. So some of the report says there are numerous Star Wars movies being developed that overlap characters or timelines. They are not related, but whatever one were to come out first could in a domino effect impact the one after it. While some Lucasfilm directors are aware of what others are working on, while others are not. For instance, Taika Waititi is working on a Star Wars movie. I don't believe that anymore. Sean Levi has a featured project in the works, and Donald Glover's Lando idea has moved over the development from TV to Lucasfilm, to the film side, and they also mentioned the Rogue Squadron project still in development. They see the original trilogy as the Old Testament, and you're being asked to create the New Testament as one source to work on previous movies, and no one can agree on anything, and there's a lot of second guessing about meaning. And finally, another source familiar with the process is more business-minded, noting Star Wars is a nostalgia-based enterprise and they are running out of ways to create nostalgia. So mainly that last quote and the one about different directors not knowing what's going on had people kind of, again, with that, does Lucasfilm know what to do with Star Wars? And in a sense, I understand why people might get disillusioned by those. Me, even though I like behind the scenes of how movies are made, I care about the finished product. So they could have all the turmoil, but if the movie comes out and it's a good movie, then I'll forget it. For some people, I guess that behind the scenes is just as important.
I mean, supposedly there was a lot of internal turmoil during the creation of the last trilogy, and I love it. It's that's the sequel trilogy is my favorite Star Wars trilogy. It's I don't know, it's the one I enjoy the most. Yeah, I guess it's kind of weird. Like, more than how long have they been at it? At this 15 years, like 15 years in, like you're still trying to figure out. Like, I get it. Like, everyone says, like, if I ran Lucasfilm, nobody knows what you would do with Star Wars. You know what would appease you, what you would like to see. But Star Wars is a massive fandom, and not everything is gonna appeal to like everyone. Like, not every movie is gonna break the box office. Like, I get it. It's like a thing. There's also the whole Disney. We paid $4 billion for this, and we want it to be good. Like, yeah, fine. The suits will be suits, but like, I don't know. Like, this whole internal turmoil. Like, just make a movie.
Yeah, I see this also. Like you mentioned earlier, there's probably a lot of stuff in some process of development that we don't know about, and we don't need to know about. So there might be 10 different movie ideas out there. Some are in pre-production, some are in post-production, as we know with the Mando Grogu. The Rey movie probably is still in pre-production, and then just talks. The Sean Levi movie, that's just talks right now. The Taika Waititi, all that is talks, nothing concrete as far as we know. So it kind of makes sense that Taika Waititi doesn't need to know what Tony Gilroy is doing in Rogue One, or what whatever his name was, I just forgot, who's doing the Simon Kimber is gonna do. If they're different, just fine. You don't need to know everything that's going on. So in that sense, it's like, yeah, have all the talks you want. Just give me a movie, and then if they need to connect, they need to connect. We'll figure that out later.
I also don't mind people doing different things. Like, again, it's always a pretty big franchise. It fits a lot of things. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, Skeleton Crew doesn't fit with Andor. It still both look pretty.
They're coming out 3 months
afterwards. And talking about a lot of people, and I understand this, it makes total sense. I say, don't try to create nostalgia. Just give us a good movie, and that even 10, 15, 20 years, that will create nostalgia for the older fans. But at the same time, like you said, when you ask people what they want to see in Star Wars, the Old Republic, give me the Throne trilogy, or give me all this stuff that I read when I was a kid. So they're still fixated on that nostalgia part of Star Wars when they grew up. But at the other end, they say, oh, don't create nostalgia. We don't need that. Just do new stuff. But it's always this balance of what the hell do you want?
I mean, like, it's funny because every time someone's like, I'm angry because this isn't the same thing as in Legends. In Legends, it was different. It was better. It's like, that's nostalgia. Like, you're angry because it's not the thing you remember as a kid or as a young man. I don't know. So, and these are probably the same people like, oh, they just keep nostalgia baiting us. Like,
yeah, it's like used to be. Just forgot what I was gonna say. Fan service, right? That fan service, a bad word now in fandom. Used to be, I don't know. I think about these things before we go online, then I lose my train of thought. Basically, we all love when things showed up that we love about the original trilogy and the Easter eggs, right? I mentioned here before, everyone went nuts when Mando Season 1 came out and we saw the pole that Han, Luke, and Leia use in the trash compactor. If you do that now, people are going to say, oh, that's just nostalgia based. Why are you putting that there? Oh, Filoni and Favreau were the saviors. Now that they're more involved, everything they do sucks. Why are they doing? It's like, it's the same thing over and over, just a circle.
Yeah.
You can just give me a movie. I don't care all the problems. If the movie's great, then I don't care what happened. If the movie sucks, then okay, then maybe those internal turmoil or internal decisions weren't the best. Just wait for the finished product before we start complaining. Like, we're not there. Yes, every time not every time, but a lot of times when people say, I hated that movie or that movie sucks, it's like you mentioned, no, it's just not the movie that you wanted, or that character went a separate direction. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just didn't connect to you, but it connected with the one next to you. So
Yeah, you're just upset that someone that wasn't you was hired to make it.
Yeah. All right. I see some final comments as we are wrapping up our talk on Star Wars this week.
Yeah, Dale was saying absolutely. Andor and Aguilar are vastly different, but they're different for different targets. That's exactly like it's a big fandom. Why would you compare apples to oranges? Precisely.
And they're
Buck
both
is saying
great.
people can shit on Legends, but there was a lot of various genres and tones in those stories. I feel like the groundwork was done in the 90s for there to be every type of story in Star Wars. Yeah, definitely. Like that allowed a lot of experimentation and maybe a lot of trial and error. Like maybe someone comes up with an idea and Filoni be like, "Oh, have you read this book?" Good luck with that.
Man, now I'm listening to more of those Legends book. Some of them are great, and you can fit them into canon. Some don't, and others are like, all right, whatever. This didn't work, didn't ruin my childhood. I'm not gonna say canon is better than Legends. There's great stories in both. Some works and some don't, and they're very different in tone and genre. They're all
just
different.
like canon, by the way. Sometimes I read a story, it's like, okay, even in High Republic, I've read High Republic books that have me like, okay.
Yeah. Is that a segue to say that you finally read Tears of the Nameless?
No.
I haven't even started.
I don't have. You did the review. You don't need me to read it.
I just want to know if you read it so we can plan the next one. I don't know. All right, that does it. All right, I forgot to put this on. Turmoil inside Lucasfilm. All right. What are we going to do as fans who have no voice or vote on what's happening inside the studio? Just watch the movie when it comes out. All right, so that does it for our talk on Star Wars this week. And now we move to something that's not Star Wars in a world between fandoms. World between fandoms, Alti. We spoke a little bit before we started, but not the first one. It's the big one. Season finale of The Penguin last Sunday. I'm gonna miss the show not being there tomorrow. What an ending, man! What a show in general. It delivered. I didn't even know what to expect for this show, but it went up and beyond what I was, I guess, hoping. Last two episodes were great. I mentioned a little bit last week, seeing us backstory as a young kid with his two brothers and what happens with them. He closing them in the sewers and then going back to the apartment and seeing the rainstorm coming down. Me as a parent, I'm just dying. Like, someone go save those kids. I know it's not gonna happen. This is how Oz becomes what he is. Dude, it was nerve-wracking. The way, and because they didn't show the kids inside, just that close did, and just dude, I was sweating. And then the episode itself was great, but then the finale came back and delivered all the way. And that ending, freaking big. For just wasn't expecting. I'm like, oh, it's gonna show up in Batman 2. No, he got choked.
I was telling Tony Vic deserves a scene with Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And no. Sorry. It was a great show. I like with Agatha, I was waiting for the other shooter drop, and I was so glad it never happened.
Yeah.
I think the thing I like the most is that it's a show about a villain, and we got so used to, like, in the last couple of decades with TV shows, we got Sopranos, we got Breaking Bad, even a show like Peaky Blinders. We got a lot of anti-heroes and a lot of bad people, but we just spent so much time with them that we got a look at all their actual good qualities, because bad people are not necessarily all bad. Like, they can have good traits. And we started to build this anti-hero thirst, I guess, in our stories, and maybe that has something to do with where we are politically. So I appreciate a show being like, we know you've empathized with this guy because we've made you empathize, but we need to remind you that he is an absolute horrible human being. And they're all in the show. It wasn't out of character at all that he did that. But I really like that the show, like, took its time to be like, we know you like him, but we have to remind you why he's a Batman villain. Why Batman wants to beat the out of him.
Dude, we had the same thought, like 6 or 7 episodes through. I'm like, please don't give me another bad guy that actually wasn't bad. It's just society didn't love him enough or something.
My
So
ma.
yeah, ma, come on, ma. Because yeah, he loved his mom, and that's part of his downfall, right? That's why he had killed his two brothers, because he wanted to be the only one to receive his mother's love. So you can kind of say, oh, that's why he went this or that way. But even his mom's like, I hate you. You're the devil. Freaking die. Get out of my life. Let me die. That 2 episodes or 3 episodes ago, I know what that I'm dying. I don't want to be a vegetable. Just let me die. Yeah, mom. I promise. No, he freaking left her alive, looking over the penthouse.
I actually forgot that. I completely forgot that.
I just because I watched the little 10-minute clips at the end with the creators. But just because the day before the finale came out, they were all saying, oh, because the penguin's gonna tie up with the Batman too. And we're saying that. And I'm like, oh, maybe the Batman shows up. So when the end is coming and Vic and him are looking over at the river, kind of celebrating, hey, we did it. And like, same thing. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be great to see Vic, this character from this TV show, and the actor to be able to be in a big Hollywood movie with the Batman. And then he grabs and just, and he's like, please, sorry, let me go. And no, he's so evil, and it's Marshall. Like, he only cares about himself. Freaking Colin Farrell, dude. I expect a lot of, and I'm one that I say, I'm not one to say this person should be nominated. That person, I don't know. Everyone in that show did a great performance all around.
I think if they only nominate one of them, it's gonna be Kristen Milioti. But
I'm glad she didn't die, and now she has this connection to Catwoman. Oh, come
on. But I think because he's a big actor, so I think he'll get nominated for the role. And people like transformations and actors. It was a great show, and I loved how it ended. Tony and I were in the Batman house. Like, I did this whole thing, like, an entire crime family was killed, and crime family was born. There's a new drug on the street, and pushers are dying. Salvatore Maroni escaped from Batgate. Yeah. Salvatore Maroni is dead. The entire Maroni family is dead. There's an explosion in Crown Point. Like, I was like, I'm sorry, Batman has to at least be aware of this.
Yeah.
So, but I also thought, like, I don't think the finale is gonna take place in Crown Point, so I don't think we're gonna see Batman, and that's kind of what happened. But I loved how they used the bat signal.
The bat signal, yeah.
Nobody's gonna stop you. Zoom out and like,
yeah,
he's gonna stop you.
He's the one. I thought I got spoiled because after hearing everyone saying they was going to connect to the sequel, I'm scrolling through Bluesky actually about 9:20 or 9:30 because I haven't started the show yet, and it was a picture of Robert Pattinson as Batman, and I didn't read. I just stopped and crap, I spoiled myself, but I kind of expected that maybe with all this talk he's gonna show up, so I was expecting him to show up. So I was glad when he didn't. But then we got the bat signal that you said, no, he's aware. He's coming now. He waited a little bit, maybe a little bit too long, but he's coming. So,
I saw someone like kind of big in the movie news thing, and he was like, oh, make sure you see the episode tonight. You don't want to get spoiled. Like, and I was like, okay, so Batman is showing up. But and then I saw a whole picture with before I saw the episode, I saw a picture of the bat signal.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, no, like, he's definitely gonna be there. So I was happy to be not disappointed after watching the episode and him not thinking he was gonna show up and not showing up.
It's fine.
So yeah, I loved it.
All right. From there we'll go, and this is just me. I finished one. I mean, I got all along. Also, I finished it this weekend.
It's so good.
It's a pretty good show. I'm not gonna take back because I didn't say anything bad about the show. It wasn't on my sphere. It wasn't something I wanted to see.
I was in the same boat.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm so glad I watched the show. I couldn't live with myself if I didn't watch it. It's a very good show. It's entertaining from beginning to end. The finale was okay. I was maybe expecting something else.
It was super weird. Like, they did the finale as the second to last episode, and it was weird, but whatever.
Yeah. My only thing, I don't know enough or anything about Agatha from the comics. I don't know how close to it was, but to me it was so WandaVision. A lot of course, about grief and all that, but also losing her twins, her sons, and how that affects, and of course that goes into Doctor Strange too. So then seeing that Agatha was also having to deal with the death of her son and what happens, like, we're kind of retreading the same thing,
Redundant.
very different and both done great. But that little thing, I'm like, I've seen this before tied to this character. So that's the only thing. But the show, all in all, was a great show. I very entertained from the beginning. Catherine Hahn is a delight. Just watching her on screen and playing
She's
Agatha is
amazing.
just so fun. Yeah.
She's amazing. I love her. And even Aubrey Plaza wasn't in it as much as I would have liked her to be, but she was still very fun to watch play that role. I really like the show. I don't think it's probably one of the better Marvel TV shows, but I just enjoyed having just a fun show to watch, which didn't have like these huge stakes, or it was just like every single week I was like, oh cool, a new Agatha episode, and I was very happy.
That's where the MCU thrives in TV. It's just these shows are just their own thing. Yeah, they connect to what's going on, but should Doctor Strange show up when all these witches are dying? Maybe, who knows? Who cares? This is a fun show. Hawkeye was a great show, even I know some people didn't like it. With Daredevil coming, that looks great. Probably doesn't connect to anything, so that works. But then I get trailers for the Thunderbolts and Captain America 4. I'm like, yes, this is what I love of the MCU. Give me more.
So I hope those movies are good. I really hope they're good.
I love both those trailers. Thunderbolts, same thing. Looks extremely fun to me. I love the Red Guardian. Come on, give me more. And Florence Pugh, you can't go wrong with her.
I'll literally watch Florence Pugh do anything. Anything. I love the Andrew Garfield movie, by the way. It was very good.
I haven't seen it. I just know the meme with the horse.
I cried, but it was a great movie.
Nice. I'm gonna watch Inception this weekend again, and I'm not going to Inception. Sorry, Interstellar. And I'm going to bawl like a little baby.
I love Interstellar. It's one of my favorite Nolan movies. But I'll just say, every time I watch Inception, I always start like, this movie was so overhyped, and by the end, this movie's so great. Of course, it's overhyped.
I love Tenet. Do I understand it? Not really, but I freaking love it.
I like Tenet more than most, and I love Interstellar.
Interstellar. I'm gonna watch. I just gotta sit down and know I'm 2.5 hours. I gotta be here just paying attention.
I own like 4 versions of that movie.
And then just to finish up, we talked before we started. I watched Yellow Jackets, a show that I know you love. You've talked about it online. I finished the first season on Netflix. Very weird, very creepy. Had those vibes in the first scene in episode 1, just throughout the whole season. So we're excited for season 2 to at some point soon be put on Netflix. Probably when season 3 comes out on Showtime, we'll get 2 on Netflix. All right, Oti, I think that it's a wrap for today's show. We'll see. Oh no, that's not it.
Oh no!
Sorry, I need my music. There we go. Next week, we'll see if anything happens between now and then. And then afterwards, I think we're getting Skeleton Crew episode 1, so we'll talk about that. December is going to be weird. I know you'll be out a little bit. I have family coming in also. I'm not going to be able to be here in the office because we'll turn into a bedroom. So we'll figure out what we do with Skeleton Crew and the December shows. And even January, we'll figure those out as we go.
Okay.
All right. Well, let me say bye to everyone. Thanks to everyone that made it to the show and to the chat. Buck, Dale, Brennan, Roberto, Scary Scuttlebutt, and everyone that was watching the show. If you didn't get a chance to jump in the chat, that's fine. Just do it next time. We're here to have fun. We'll be back soon, hopefully next week. And we'll talk about anything happening in the world of Star Wars. So thank you. See you guys again. Stay safe. Be safe. And may the Force be with you all.